of energy, and he has to be, almost plugged into glucose, because that's the only way he's going to get through it.
He's going to be back after all these years. What do you think it's going to be like? Do you think he's going to live up to everyone's expectations?
I don't know. I mean, either way, everyone's just going to be glad to see him back on stage.
I think he's going to be able to cope because he's not as fit as he used to be, is he?
How do you know? Wake up to the check his heart rate.
There are conflicting reports as to the true state of Jackson's health in the lead up to the concerts.
The last time I saw Michael was at the conference at the O2, and the world's press is there. Do you know, they say he looked high. They say he looked sedated. I would say he looked that he was focused. And they're saying that he was ill, and then it came out that he was physically fit. He was really in good shape. Michael Jackson weighed correct for his height. He had the best dietitian that you can get.
The last time I saw Michael was in March 2009, and to me he did look underweight. He did. He looked a lot thinner than I'd ever seen him before. And I don't think he looked particularly healthy. He just seemed frail to me. I don't think it was reasonable to expect somebody of 50 to do 50 concerts in 6 months. I just think that that's too hard. He just didn't have enough time to prepare for it, And so much was riding on that, and it put an enormous strain on him, enormous strain. And I just don't think it was very fair on him. And I think in some respects it was quite irresponsible, very irresponsible.
Just the night before he died, Jackson was here at the Staples Centre in LA, rehearsing for his upcoming London shows. And by all accounts, it was a pretty energetic performance, running through 10 or 11 songs and dances. After which, Jackson's manager says the singer came up and put his arm around him and told him, "I am so happy. This is really our time." At these rather less glamorous studios, Jackson had a tough schedule for the last few months. People here who watched him rehearse said he was thin and frail, but he seemed fit.
He was, up to par. He was at his best, and he was ready to come back and just wow us all away.
He wanted to come back badly, in a great way. He was a perfectionist, so he wanted these concerts to be close to perfection. And that creates stress, that creates anxiety.
At the time of the concert announcement in March 2009, representatives from promoters AEG Live stated that Jackson had passed a 4.5-hour physical examination by independent doctors.
And I pulled him aside and said, "Mikey, why now?" Okay, and he said to me, "Chris, you know what? My kids are old enough, and I'm still young enough to do what I do. I don't want them to see me, in my pride and what I do. Because they've never seen me."
He was under a lot of pressure from the promoters. He was worked far too hard. All of these things that have come out into the media about Michael being in fantastic health and being as fit as a 20-year-old, that's nonsense. I saw Michael with my own eyes, and he wasn't looking fit. He didn't look healthy, and he was underweight. So I don't understand how, the insurance company had a doctor examine him, and the results are that he's as healthy as a 20-year-old. That is not true. I don't think any doctor could say that. Unfortunately, he was surrounded by people who didn't necessarily have his well-being in mind.
I remember I once asked him, "Michael, are you a lonely man?" And he looked up at me and he said, it took him 10 seconds to say what he said. And he said, "Uri Geller, I'm a very lonely man."
There are claims that Michael Jackson had agreed to perform only 10 concerts rather than 50. Those close to him have differing opinions.
Michael didn't sign up to do 50 concerts. He said that to me, that he only thought he was doing 10. He kept on saying that. He didn't, that's not what he thought he was doing. And it kind of angered him that he was, you know, in some ways forced to do 50 concerts.
Well, this is what I can't understand, because when I was with Michael when we went to the O2 together, he phoned me up and said, come along, I'm doing this announcement. So I said, yeah, sure, okay. So I drove up to London and we went in the bus up to the O2 where he was going to announce the dates of the concert, and he always told me he was doing 50 dates. So I don't know where him not knowing this came from, because he was always aware he was going to be doing 50, but it wasn't 50. When I first thought 50 dates, I mean, oh my God, how are you going to do that? But it wasn't like they were every night. There were, you know, gaps.
Michael Jackson did not think there were 10 concerts for his performances. I follow this logically. Okay, so they come to you, promoters, all right, and promoters are promoters. So they say, Michael, we're going to do 10 shows and we need an option for the other 40. So Michael will go, oh, okay. And he'll sign up and he'll do the 10 and he'll give him an option for the other 40. And then Michael needs to believe that he's God and that everyone's going to pay to see Michael Jackson do the songs and dances that he once did in 1984. He was totally in control, trying to do the impossible.
Michael Jackson was very much up for the 50, and Michael Jackson was very much in control of the 50. I'm not picking sides. I know some family members are angry and I don't want to upset anybody. But my opinion of it is Michael was excited to know that he was that loved, that much in demand. And why would he come out of bed for 10?
He couldn't perform those shows. That's my instinct, that's my belief.
It was like a child waiting for Christmas with these O2 concerts. I mean, he was absolutely geared up, focused. I've never seen Michael like in that state before, and it was absolutely wonderful. I was really pleased to see him so energized by this. After Michael announced the concerts, he stayed in London and my family came up and we spent the weekend with Michael before he flew back to the States. He was in a really good, positive mood. I mean, he was in such a positive frame of mind. Best I've seen him for a long time. And it was so reassuring, and we had big plans, and he was going to come to London, and it was over the school holidays, and the kids were all going to get together and have loads of free time, and things we were going to do, and all these plans we had. He was just so positive. He told me his children had never seen him perform. They'd seen, obviously, video and DVD footage of him on stage, but they'd never actually seen him live, none of his children. So this was something he not only was doing for his fans, but mainly for his children.
Probably no celebrity has been as revered and reviled over the past 40 years as much as Michael Jackson. Since his arrival on the scene in 1963 as the cherubic 5-year-old singing phenomenon with his brothers in the teen heartthrob group Jackson 5, he has been at the forefront of pop culture.
Michael started at the age of 5, I started at the age of 5, so, we were always kind of comparing. Obviously, Michael's fame was infinitely more than mine, but having been in the spotlight at such an early age, and we used to share memories about our early times. He said, when these teeny rock magazines came out, were in the States, and I don't know if these still exist. There's one called Tiger Beat, I think, and 17. There were 4 people that used to feature, and one of them was Michael, who obviously dominated. Donny Osmond, David Cassidy, myself, and Jack Wild. So there was 5 who, not always, but were kind of the ones that were shown most in these magazines. And Michael would pick up these magazines, and quite often there'd be a page of Michael, and the next page would be me. So he kind of thought there was some sort of parallelism between us. He did tell me that he enjoyed the film Oliver, and it was his favourite musical, and it remained his favourite musical all his life, which was kind of odd coming from Michael, who has dominated the pop charts for so long and made so many wonderful records. For him to tell me that this was his favourite musical was something else. It was quite an honour, really.
The Jackson 5 brothers were the eldest sons in a family of 9 children, born in Gary, Indiana, to steelworker Joe Jackson and his wife, Catherine. Strict disciplinarian Joe recognized his sons' talent and molded them into a singing group, one that would be inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 1997.
I've met Joe a few times. He's the father of Michael, but they are so totally different, like chalk and cheese. That Michael is probably like the complete opposite. If you look at his background, he's come from, basically he was a welder in a very poor town in mid-America and has been catapulted through on the back of his children into some huge stardom.
I think if Joe didn't do what he did, there would have been no Michael Jackson. I'm not one of these people that say, point the finger at the father. He took a very poor family, took a talent that he saw, and he gave it to the world.
He wasn't forced to work. You can't force someone to work. Because if you force them to work and they're performing, their performance is going to be horrible. You may be able to force them to go pick cotton. You may be able to force them to go lift these things. But you can't force him to give a performance. He lived for the performance. It was his adulation. It was his spiritual drug, or whatever you want to call it.
He did discuss his childhood with me, and I think that he's been quite open about his childhood. In terms of his relationship with his father, I think what the public doesn't know is that he forgave his father for some of the hurt that was caused, and at the end of his life, he was very much on good terms with his father. So I think that a lot of the things that they happened a long time ago, and Michael forgave.
Michael Jackson was to transform pop music as a solo act, becoming the first African-American singer to gain mass appeal. Thriller, released in 1982, remains the best-selling album of all time. Michael Jackson won 13 Grammy Awards, made boundary-breaking videos, and his slick dance moves were imitated by fans and pop stars around the globe. During his life, he sold an estimated 750 million records, a figure that is likely to rise with the posthumous re-release of his hits. On the 27th of January 1984, a pyrotechnics accident during the filming of a Pepsi ad resulted in Michael suffering second-degree burns to the head. Plastic surgery was required to restore his appearance. Brian Oxman, Jackson family lawyer, claims the medication prescribed to Michael Jackson during this time led to his long-term addiction to painkillers.
When he burnt his hair at the Pepsi commercial, he started using painkillers then. He then fell from a stage and broke his leg. He also cracked a vertebrae in his back, and those things have caused him terrible pain.
I have suffered and dealt with the same kind of medical problem now afflicting my friend Michael Jackson. Because of that, and because of our friendship, when Michael's doctor called to ask if I could help, I was glad to intervene. I traveled to Mexico City, where I saw for myself that Michael was in desperate need of specialized medical attention. Because of my own experience with addiction to prescription medicines, I was able to make a number of calls in search of the best and most appropriate treatment for Michael, and he is now undergoing such treatment in Europe. Out of respect for his privacy, which I know to be extremely important at this time, I have not spoken publicly about our movements or about Michael's exact location. And because of my regard for him and my concern for his health, I will continue to be silent. I will only repeat that I am a friend of Michael Jackson's, and I love him like a son, and I support him with all my heart.
By the end of the 1980s, at the peak of his career, Jackson was crowned Artist of the Decade and was the most famous man on the planet. But despite such triumphs, wild rumors about his private life were swirling.
It's been said that Michael Jackson underwent plastic surgery to make himself look more like you.
I don't think so.
Is that true?
No, I don't think he has. No one's ever told me. He's never told me that. I don't think so.
But is it unnerving for you to have a young man that's undergone plastic surgery to make himself look like you?
Well, I don't think he's trying to look like me. I really don't. I think he wants to look like what he perceives as makes him feel happy about himself, you know? I don't think he's trying to look like me. I do think he's quite beautiful, though, by the way.
You know what the media is like. It's called propaganda. They take anything and they blow it out. We're family. You saw the way we grew up in a 2-bedroom house. Family is more important than all the success and anything, and we're always going to hold on to that. Their whole thing is to divide and conquer and to separate us. We're family. We're family. We have children. We hurt just like everyone else.
Throughout Michael Jackson's life, curiosity and controversy were his constant companions.
I was in the room when it happened. When I saw it on the camera, I thought, oh God, that looks really awful. But actually below the window of the hotel is a ledge that comes out quite a way. And if Michael had held the baby quite firmly anyway, and it was just a gesture to say, look, this is my new child. And then he got absolutely slammed for it. But that baby was in no danger at all, ever. And in fact, when we didn't think anything of it until after he'd done it and the fans were clapping and cheering until the next day when it came out in the papers. And then I saw the news clip and I thought, well, yeah, that does look a bit scary. But, you know, as I say, there was a ledge just underneath. So even if he hadn't dropped him, he could have just dropped about 2 feet. He used to embarrass me how good he was as a father. I mean, I was like, do something wrong, Michael, please. It's making me look bad. He was very hurt by the misreportings in the press, but I think his defense mechanism was not to read them. Don't let it. You know, they're going to say whatever they're going to say anyway, so just don't get involved with it. And I said to him one day, I said, why don't you just sue them? And he said, Mark, if I was to sue everyone that wrote something about me that was untrue, I'd be in court every single day. So it just wasn't worth it for him, so he just decided to let it go.
Whether as pop icon or tabloid caricature, the superstar always remained larger than life. But his success as a pop star was almost eclipsed by the endless gossip surrounding his lifestyle.
When I first met Michael, he had control in his life. And I think the control started slipping away 2003 onwards, when he sank deeper into despair over the false accusations.
Please keep an open mind and let me have my day in court. I deserve a fair trial like every other American citizen. I will be acquitted and vindicated when the truth is told.
I think that there were a lot of doctors that just barged their way into his life.
Okay, he got his hands on these drugs. Where did he get the drugs from? Doctors. Can you imagine the horrific outcry if he was out on the street getting heroin and he was shooting the heroin into him? Well, he got heroin. It was called Oxycontin. And he got a liquid form that put him to sleep at 5 a.m. Why couldn't he sleep?
It took a lot out of him, that. I mean, he didn't eat very well, sleeping very badly, and that probably took 10 years off him, I should think.
The immense pressure of the allegations led to Michael Jackson's increasing dependency on prescription medication.
He was in terrible discomfort during the entire trial proceedings. He's going to go home, recuperate, rest and relax, and he'll be back on Monday, and he's looking forward to being here. And he went to the emergency room this morning, and he was given medications, so he'll be back on Monday, and we all thank you so very much. You take care.
Can you imagine the pressure he must have been under? And the pressure was enormous for him. I mean, of course we knew that he was innocent of all charges, but, you know, a lot of innocent men have been found guilty, and evidence can fall one way or the other. So the stress of 3 months of going to court every single day, he looked thin, he looked anemic almost. I mean, it was just, I think that really was probably the worst thing in his life as far as his health goes and his mental state.
On June 13th, 2005, Michael Jackson was found not guilty and completely cleared of all charges.
I would like to thank the fans around the world. I would like to thank the fans around the world for your love and your support from every corner of the earth. My family has been very supportive. My brother Randy has been incredible. I want to thank the community of Santa Maria. I want you to know that I love the community of Santa Maria very much. It's my community. I love the people. I will always love the people. My children were born in this community. My home is in this community. I will always love this community from the bottom of my heart. That's why I moved here. Thank you very much.
There was no African American on the jury. There was so many search warrants, so many months of investigation, so many $1 million, and they didn't even get an alcohol charge. They put it in to get something, they didn't even get that. It didn't go to show how guilty he was, it went to show how innocent he is, how clean he is. They went through his house with a fine comb. And the lady that brought the charges later ended up in jail for fraud. So, you know, I mean, Michael was a victim.
Despite all allegations, the King of Pop's lasting appeal was underlined when 750,000 fans of all ages bought tickets for his London O2 Arena concerts.
We came from the west of Ireland yesterday, or on Wednesday morning, and we've been queuing since.
It was so hard to get the tickets, so I just thought I just took the risk and just come down here and spend the night. I just don't care.
When you're looking forward to something, you don't really suffer. Like we had rain, our tent got flooded, but just because we knew that we were going to see Michael, none of that stuff matters. We're here for Michael, we'll do anything.
Let me state this, the man came back, sold out a bigger tour than he's ever done in his heyday. It sold out 50 days, I think something like 1 million tickets in 4 hours. So he was very loved and he was very supported.
I don't think he has to prove anything to pull it off. He's the legend he is. I mean, Michael Jackson's going to turn up and do his shows, and everybody will see that, you know, the next chapter.
Set to appear on July 8, 2009, the singer saw the tickets to these shows sell out in only 4 hours. a testament to his enduring popularity with fans around the globe. The world would never see the comeback he promised. On July 24th, 2009, Michael Jackson was a healthy 50-year-old man. The following day, he was dead.
It saddens me that there are so many people in Los Angeles who, when he died, claimed to be his friend, and yet, where were they? Why didn't they help him?
I think we drove him to a lot of things. The world could have done more to appreciate him, to let him know, enjoy yourself, we love you, you're good, you're very good. It's sad that we wanted so much from the man that we kept saying more, rather than saying, hey, no more from you, rest up, enjoy your life.
All his life he was transported by private Lear jets to limousines, to entourage, to be quietly and without fanfare transported in the back of a simple ambulance is kind of life's story. Michael Jackson, he was getting ready for a major tour, probably never thought that that was his last day. The world wasn't ready for that to be his last day. So be ready, be prepared. Every day, be prepared for your life to end in a positive way, because you never know.
The singer had barely been pronounced dead when the memorabilia market catapulted in value and has since shown no sign of succumbing to gravity.
Memorabilia is selling like hotcakes, record shops have been stocking up, and Thriller the Musical report record sales.
As soon as it arrives in store, within an hour or two it's gone and you're waiting for the next batch. But Elvis and John Lennon are the two obvious comparisons, but it's much greater than that. I mean, in those days you didn't have downloads, which are playing a sort of key part this time around, and it would often take a week or two for a single or an album to be pressed up and sort of distributed out to stores, so everything was that bit slower. But this is just on a different scale. Michael's music sort of cuts across so many different generations as well. Whereas sort of Elvis and John Lennon were seen as sort of older artists for older generations, Michael, notwithstanding the fact he was 50, still did appeal to younger fans.
While the real financial beneficiaries of his death are yet to be decided, his legacy will undoubtedly become a Disneyland-style franchise that will generate vast sums of money for years to come.
There is no innocence, there is no truth. It is absolutely propaganda made so the corporation could profit. There's something wrong with that. There really, really is.
Michael Jackson's life is a bit about selling things, records, merchandise. In his life and in his death, he'll still be selling units. This is show business.
What would have become a series of London concerts has now become a global cinema and merchandising event, generating vast sums of money for concert promoter AEG Live, Sony, and the many others who stand to profit from the singer's death.
very sad today. It's great to be here on the carpet for a premiere, but this is the saddest premiere I've ever been to. And I'm not gonna view the film itself. I'm just here in support of my other brothers here with him.
Michael Jackson could never be ignored. The King of Pop was always centre stage. Yet now, there are more questions than ever.
Could the family sue him for malpractice? I don't think so, but it'd be interesting. But then again, the guy had a Texas and Nevada license working for Michael. It's like a movie, right?
On November 18th, 2009, Michael Jackson's personal physician, Dr. Conrad Murray, the target of the manslaughter investigation, was reported to be planning to sue concert promoter AEG Live for unpaid medical services during his time with Michael Jackson.
The way the law works nowadays in America baffles me. I think anybody can face trial for anything, from a doctor to a promoter to a record label. In the world of Michael Jackson, I'll just wait to see it happen. But I think I've gone beyond expected.